it's Katelyn and Adam from Enta Asks. Click on the subscribe button below so you never miss an episode.
Also, you can follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook.
Hello and welcome to Enta Asks. I'm Adam Kolozetti.
And I'm Katelyn Bullock.
And
We're the founders of Enta Solutions. And who do we have today, Adam?
We have Stan Peake. Stan Peake is the founder of InSite Performance Coaching, and he himself is an executive coach and all-around great guy. So Stan, welcome to our show.
Thank you guys. Speaking of great folks, always a pleasure just to spend time with you both. Thank you for having me, and let's have a great time today.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Very impressed with your tree. I think I have to start there. Your Christmas tree looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's because I didn't touch it.
Good man. Credit where credit's due.
This is wife, my son, and my niece. I literally may have put like 3 ornaments on.
Right.
I know when to just get out of the way and pour myself a drink.
Those 3 were perfectly placed. I
right,
see
exactly.
it now, right?
You nailed it. Totally.
Right. And speaking of perfectly placed, Stan, so you're an executive coach. How did you become to be an executive coach?
Great question, and I love it. And you know what I found, what I didn't know at the time is that the way I became an executive coach is that I became the help I wish I had years ago. That's really what it was. You know, long story short, I had owned a couple businesses in the health and fitness space, was in that industry that I loved for 18 years. In my second business, not just my business partner who started the business and I were bought out and acquired, and we went through a merge. Learned a ton, met, worked with amazing people, amazing experience to take 2 very different cultures and have to merge them together. And I would say our merge was a financial success because we prioritized the culture and the people. But with all that success, it was interesting because what I also found out after the fact, success teaches you way less than failure does. I failed. And when you fall on your face, you get up and you dust yourself off and you learn, what can I do differently next time? But when you get bought out and you get a nice big paycheck, then it doesn't teach you anything. If anything, it makes you comfortable. And when you're comfortable, you take the foot off the gas. So after like an 18-year successful career and lots of amazing memories and lessons, I actually went through a washing machine of about 2 years of feeling purposeless. And I'm huge on purpose. You guys know that. And so, you know, I really figured my purpose out at 21 years old. Luck. I wouldn't say I'm that smart. I just was, you know, I found my passion early. I had my purpose figured out from the age of 21 till probably the age of, you know, not the whole 18 years, but most. And by about 37, 38, when we got bought out, I really started feeling, even though the company was doing awesome stuff, I started feeling purposeless. So I did so much personal development, took courses, took, 360-degree review, went back to school, did all those things. And then I realized after a 360 and all these lessons that helping people through coaching and inspiring them was my biggest gift. And so that really, I was like, okay, well, I guess I had been coaching people for 20 years almost. Now I was going to coach people, but it was going to be towards their purpose, how they can have more impact on the world. And so I chose the avenue of business coaching because I am an entrepreneur. I love business, but I also love helping people with what's between their ears. Super long answer to your short question, but that's how I became a coach.
That's really great, Stan. Like, I love that there's that passion and that purpose. And, you and I have had lots of chats about purpose, and it's so important. But, I like to hear the stories about your lessons. Like, tell me, like, you failed. I mean, I want to know what happened there.
Yeah, absolutely. I failed. I actually closed my first business. By the way, we don't have enough time to talk about all my failures, but I'll just go for the big ones. So my first business I closed because I had an opportunity. It was a fitness business. It was a personal training business. And I'd seen some success, but I had this opportunity to be the national strength and conditioning director for the largest fitness, franchise in the world for all of Canada. And so I was going to be the big top fitness guy in Canada for, I'm not going to say the name of the company, but most people are probably guessing correctly. And so I closed my business. There was a lot of upset clients. I had clients tell me that they would be clients for life. And I took those clients and I referred them to other personal trainers. Didn't take any money from those trainers, just found them a good home. And then moved around the country, opened clubs, lots of different places. And all of a sudden, the last club I opened, there was 4 different builders liens leverage against the place, because it turns out the CEO hadn't been paying a lot of the trades, was cutting corners, and was unethical. So I left a business where clients loved me, closed it, and ended up working for a guy who was, shady. Let's just say that. So, that's ended up moving to Vancouver for that. I was like, well, I burnt all these bridges and, lost an opportunity, I thought. That was a pretty big one. If I follow it into Vancouver, at that point in my career, I'd always been getting by on talent. I'd worked hard. I learned. I had this insatiable passion to learn at that time, specifically about sports science and how the body worked. I wanted to know right down to the level of a chemical reaction. What happened when you ate this or did this muscle contraction? And so that's what made me successful. What didn't make me successful, I wasn't that organized, and I wasn't doing a ton of personal development. I did a lot, but I skipped the big stuff. And you guys know this, but when I was young, I was bullied, and then that led me to football, and brought all my insecurity with me to the football locker room. And then started chewing tobacco with the football guys, because it was my first real taste of acceptance. That carried with me. So even though I was in a fitness business, I was a hypocrite. I was addicted to chewing tobacco. And so that led me to my second and most monumental failure, where I wasn't making the changes I need to personally. I was addicted. I couldn't afford the apartment I was in, so I had to move out. I had to sleep at work. I was homeless for a month. I basically, quit chew. I had no goals. I was going nowhere. By the way, you know why I'm so big on purpose? And my purpose is to lift people towards their potential. It's because I had none. I was living 0% of my potential. So when you say things like, I want to lift people towards their potential, it sounds like a Hallmark card until you realize that this is a dude who was homeless with no goals, who slept at work for a month and was going nowhere, not like in the face, staring back at them in the mirror, and just, was a fraction of what he could be. So that was a huge series of mistakes of just, I was too comfortable. I wasn't making the changes, all those things. I made mistakes in my leadership, after quitting Chew and getting back on track, and literally tripling my income within a year and getting into an ownership position.
Time out. I want to know what switched. What switched to make you look at yourself and go, okay, I'm making the change?
What switched? I've got 2 great parents. I had a great childhood besides the bullying. I've been surrounded by love in that sense. I'm a good guy. I grew up with good people, and thank you. I know I'm a good guy. Like, I really do. Am I the best guy? No. Am I the nicest guy? No. I'm certainly not the most patient guy. Back on track. I know I'm a good person, but I didn't like myself then. And I was far enough off of who I am that I got to the point where I didn't like myself. And that's where I knew it was just absolutely time to change. I also, like I said, I had no goals and I was going nowhere. I watched people around me that I knew, or at least felt, were less talented, had been doing it less time, were less dedicated to their craft, and they were, getting promotions and raises, and I was just stuck. And that is a horrible feeling. Like, I am a really driven guy. Mm-hmm. And for anyone out there listening who is driven, we know that being stuck in any way, shape, or form is like worse than purgatory. It's hell. So feeling stuck, watching other people who deserved it more, but were less talented, move past, I was like, no, this is all on me. This is brutal. And that just made me mad enough and sick of it enough to change. And, it's not a great feeling not liking yourself. So it was pretty quick to quit Chew, start writing down some goals, open up feedback. I talked to my boss. I told him what was going on. He thought I had like a drug problem. But I was like, this is what's going on. And he said he knew it was something. But to get all of that, it felt like a 1,200-pound gorilla off my back. And then I had the freedom and the permission to be human, because before it was like you had to have all the answers. In a leadership position, I felt like I had to have all the answers. Here I could just be human, I could be flawed. And it was funny because the ability to be flawed actually was what gave me the permission to go forward full on, take risks and make mistakes, because the mistakes were small, right? When you try to be perfect, you don't get in the arena because you're afraid that you're going to have a real public failure. When you kind of start with like, hey, I messed up, then any mistake after that is like nothing by comparison. And now I'm not afraid to fail at all. Like I fail all the time, whether it's pitching, Entrepreneur Magazine, or pitching a book publisher, or, a client that I don't get, whatever it is. But, there's an old saying that perfection is the enemy of execution. That sounds nice on a postcard, but I really think that perfection is like the enemy of even happiness.
Yeah.
Because if you think you got to be perfect, you're not even going to try.
Well, I love that, you talk about being in the arena, right? And you're now helping people get in the arena because you fought your way into the arena, right? That was not an easy road for you, right?
Still fighting. I think it's
fighting,
important
right?
for people to realize, like, I don't talk from like, hey, I made it, let me show you how. Like, I'm still in the arena, still getting my butt kicked. And that's why I'm able to help people.
So what kind of people work best with you, Stan? So, at what point in my career or in my life would Stan Peake be the guy for me to come talk to?
Great question. And I wouldn't say it's a point in your career. I'd say it's a point in your mindset. So really the best people, the people that have seen the best results and enjoyed working with me the most have a couple things in common. One is they're driven. I told you before, like, I'm a driven dude. And if I'm more driven towards the success of a client's business than they are, that's probably not going to be a good fit. I'm going to feel like a tidal wave for them. I am patient a little bit. I'm making myself sound terrible. But the other thing they have to have in common is they really have to be values-based. They have to have more than one bottom line in mind. They don't have to be triple bottom line, perfect, paperless, riding their bike 50 miles to work. No, but basically they can't just be profit above all. We talked about this. I talked about this on another interview recently, where it's not profit or purpose, it's profit through purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm preaching to the choir, right? But when you have a bigger purpose that drives you, you're going to put more into your business, and you're actually going to resonate more with your audience and inspire your team more. All those things add up, and you unleash more of the discretionary effort of your team, and you again resonate more with the belief system of your audience, and actually those things translate to greater profit, which is not why we do it, but it's a great outcome when people don't have to feel like, oh, well, I'm choosing something I'm passionate about, so that means I'm leaving money on the table. It's actually the opposite.
So me, I like to get into the nitty gritty stuff. You talked about that's a perfect fit for you. So have you ever fired a client?
I have actually, a couple. There
What
was
happened?
one. Well, it's more what didn't happen,
Okay.
because accountability is one of my core values in the context of coaching, right? So basically, I'm a big believer that values are in context. My personal core values are a little different than the organizational core values of InSite. InSite, our core values are in the context of dealing with each other as teammates and dealing with our clients. So accountability is a core value, because without accountability, it's just talk. I want to achieve this. Well, did you take any action? Did you take a lot of action? Did you take action after the first thing didn't work out? And so accountability is a core value. And the first client I fired was someone who, super nice person. But when I would show up, things like they would work from home, which is totally fine. But when I show up at work in a founder's house, if the TV is on, that's a red flag. Like,
Interesting.
Typically, if it's me turning the TV on, it usually doesn't get turned on. It doesn't get turned on midweek unless football's on. And if it does get turned on, it usually doesn't get turned on until at least dinner time. So if that's basically around, 11 hours after I start work, that's when I turn the TV on. not during the day.
Okay, so, but you didn't just fire him because you had the
No,
TV
God,
on.
no. But it was an example.
I want to get into the.
Yeah, it was also that there was clear objectives. Like what I want to set up, I coach people how I would want someone to come in and help my business, clarify what must be done. Here's some tools. Here's what you need to do. Here's a set of initiatives. And if you do these things, in addition to what you were going to do, you'll be more successful. That's what I try to lay out. It's got to be simple, because if it's complex, again, like I said, perfection is the enemy of execution. Well, complexity is also the enemy of execution. Quoting Mark Cuban on that one. I would wish that quote was my own.
I was like, oh, that's pretty good, yeah.
But the point is, the work wasn't getting done. And
you had goals, and you're like, okay, you're going to have this done by this time. You come and you'd be like, I didn't really
clear homework, clear deliverables that weren't getting done. And when you're a pre-revenue startup, for instance, there's one objective. That's get out there and sell, right? Because even people say proof of concept. Well, that is how you prove your concept, by getting out there and selling and having a market that has a demand or a need for what you're doing. That is what proof of concept is. So pre-revenue startups, if you're listening, you have one job, and that's sell. And when I would work, this happened to be a pre-revenue startup that wasn't selling. They were too busy doing other stuff. Like, well, first of all, that's a great way to go broke. It's a hobby. It's not a business. And if you're not going to sell, if you're not going to do the work, I can't keep cashing your check, just out of my own ethics. I refuse to be sitting. I can't be an anchor. I should be the engine of the boat, not the anchor. Right.
Like that.
So I had to stop cashing his checks, and we had to stop working together. It's happened a couple of times, but typically for the same reason. Sometimes it's about not seeing eye to eye. That could be ethically, that hasn't really happened, but more about if someone is comfortable and happy where they are, say running a lifestyle business, then I have to question why I belong at the table. Some owners need an outlet. Because, I know I'm in a couple mastermind groups, and a lot of founders don't have a network they can call and say, I'm tapped out, I'm stressed. I got to talk about my employees, or, the cash flow roller coaster has really got me stressed. Like, those are conversations you shouldn't have with your spouse, not necessarily your best friends, definitely not your staff. So some people don't have that. But if that's the only value, then that's just not really the coaching I do. I do it, but I can't say that the value is there. The value of hiring someone like me is you put a boat engine on. That guy didn't need a high power engine. He needed an oar.
Gotcha.
There's a difference in price.
You have all these great little metaphors and insights.
I speak an analogy. It's like a condition.
I wonder, is that where the name came from, InSite Performance?
Pretty much. Oh, man. It's funny because my coaching model, like, how we coach people in the system that's called results that you guys know, that took less time to conceptualize than come up with a name. And I'd been through, we went through a merge. We had to rename a company. I named my own company in the first one I started. So really the coaching model dictated the name, because a great coach takes someone from a place of being stuck, or from a place of having too many options. Sometimes too much choice is just as paralyzing as not being able to see the choices. Yeah. So the actual logo, if you think about the InSite logo, there's like 3 possibilities coming into the central hub of the logo and 1 direction exiting. That was on purpose. That's what that logo is. So it was like, from place of many possibilities, a coach should create massive clarity, not a little bit, massive clarity on what has to happen. And then with that clarity comes focus. With that focus comes accountability. We talked about that. And with clarity, focus, accountability, married with passion and work ethic, someone is going to go from point A to point B, a location, otherwise known as a site, S-I-T-E. Wow. That was a journey to come up with a name.
Wow. That just blew my mind a little bit, Stan. I didn't.
Thank you. And well, it's double entendre as well, because funny, because a lot of times people say, thank you for the insight. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's why I thought of it.
Nice.
I love it.
It's so perfect.
Hey, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get all the latest updates.
Hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
So Stan, you're a very passionate guy. I can see that.
A little bit.
You did football. You're obviously, are you still involved in the sports world? Like, what do you do outside of work?
Sleep. That's about it. No. I am, I actually want to be involved more in the sports world. I mean, I'm a sports dad. Obviously I love taking my kid to hockey and just watching, just letting him, have that time. I used to coach football. I did that for about 10 years because I played football for almost 10 years. That's where the hits to the head. If this interview goes sideways, I'm always to blame it on the hits to the head.
Gotcha.
I actually want to get back into coaching. My son plays flag football in addition to hockey, and they didn't need any coaches, which I think was code for no, move along, old man. But I'd love to get involved in that. And a client and I, who ironically, one of my favorite clients that we've been working together for a couple of years now, I actually coached him when he was a little kid in football. And now, the guy's grown up, married, whatever, which doesn't help me feel any younger. Anyway, we were going to join a men's league, like flag football. And then, the shutdown happened. So that is a goal, is to join something that's fun and competitive. Really the old man beer league, where I'm probably going to tear a hamstring, streaking down the sidelines, going for a pass that I wouldn't catch. But got to add some fun to your exercise, because otherwise it's just my morning workouts in the basement.
That's which I think a lot of people are doing right now in this time. Right. Or me, I just eat chocolate. I'm not working out, let's be honest. So Stan, you talk about profit with purpose. What's the purpose that InSite has?
It's a great question. I love that. So the purpose that we have is that business must be a force for good. We need to get in front of more businesses, because let's face it, we spend a third of our lives at work. So business is integrated into every fabric of society. And if we can help more leaders become more conscious leaders, fully aware of their values, purpose, mission, and strategy, that's what conscious leadership is, then we create better businesses in every community. That's our why. Our vision, where that is headed, is to really work with at least 1 million leaders. Because if we work with 1 million leaders and all those leaders go on and impact their teams, then our reach is truly incalculable.
And that million, I love that, because it's like, that's the goal, right? It's very, very fitting. But was it always 1 million? Like, how did that number come about?
No, it was funny, because when I first started this, I had a goal, and I was familiar with the notion of a BHAG. A big, hairy, audacious goal. Yeah. And so I was like, well, I got to come up with one. And it's actually at my office. And again, we're locked down, but I have a stone tablet. You guys would see that on the website. I was like, you know what? I got to have this BHAG, and I want to put it on a stone tablet. I don't know. I don't know if I was like reading the Bible or that. I don't know what was going on, but had like these notions of Moses. And so ironically, I mentioned my son plays hockey. We were at a game, and there was like a little craft fair going on in this school that the tournament was at, and we had time to kill. So walked into the little gym where all these kiosks were set up, and the first one was rock art here sold. And I just figured out how to make this thing. And it's this mountain, and it's like the forest and mountains in the setting, close to my heart, right? I like to get outdoors, obviously live in Calgary by the mountains. And I wanted to write on there, figured out I could scratch with a toothpick, which actually made it look way worse, because it wasn't like I have great penmanship in the first place. But anyway, I etched out there that I wanted to help 100 world bettering leaders live their dreams. Because at that time I had, 3 clients, and I'm thinking, well, that could be a career. In my mind at that time, a full coaching practice, by the way, for one coach, face-to-face conventional coaching methodology, is 10 to 15 clients. So my view was that I would retain my clients for quite a while, but over an entire career in that conventional one-on-one coaching, maybe I could coach 100. And then, it was just one of those things where it was like, well, why wouldn't I count it if I help someone for free? So the next thing you know, it just blew up. It was well over 100 early. So then I moved it to 1,000. And then I thought, well, you know what? If someone buys a book, that's a touch point. If someone is in the live audience when I'm speaking on stage, that's a touch point. So between coaching and those 2 other ways, I'm like, that's what it should be. So now I'm at 3,000, which sounds great, but that's 0.3% of my goal. And the good thing about that, that I try to share as, I guess, a lesson for maybe other founders, is that the goal is big enough, a million, whatever your goal is, that goal is big enough that I have no idea on how I'm going to achieve it. It's actually the definition of a BHAG. It should excite and scare you, and you're not supposed to know how you're going to do it. And the good thing about that is that actually stretches me as a coach and as an entrepreneur. It stretches my business model, and I have to keep coming up with things like, the Success as a System program that wouldn't exist if it weren't for Enta. So all those mechanisms of reaching more people are critical to achieve a goal. That's our purpose and our vision.
So let's get into that. Let's get into Success as a System, because that's your new launch. We've seen a lot about that. Tell us the why behind Success as a System and what the platform is.
Yeah, no, happy to share that, because traditional coaching, again, in that one-on-one sort of setup, is cost prohibitive for the mass market. Personally speaking, with the results we've been able to generate for our clients, we undercharge relative to other executive coaches, but it's still tens of thousands of dollars a year. And if you go for, the Tony Robbins or John Matones of the world, that's more like 6 to 7 figures a year. So that's unattainable except for the 1%. We're not necessarily unattainable except for the 1%, but we're still catering to a minority of entrepreneurs and executives, which is the minority of the population, right? And I mean, everybody has goals. Everybody has limiting beliefs to a degree. Everybody has elements of their life they want to improve. And it's not like I only want to help successful people be happier. I personally am not okay with people feeling stuck. That's the thing for me that sucks. And if I can help more people get unstuck and give them what it's called a system for success, a set of fundamentals to help them set better goals, understand how they get in their own way more so, that's what I had to do. And, we don't do these things when things are going well. Iterating your business, you both know this as entrepreneurs, we don't do that when we're making money hand over fist or when we're too booked with clients. We do it when we get kicked in the teeth. And so when COVID happened and a lot of our revenue just out the door, that was the time to go, okay, now what? And so it was basically the oh, you know what moments. First, I wrote a book, and then, writing a book, especially that was my 5th. That's not going to just change a business or change a life. Helped a little bit, was able to give the book away for free to a lot of people and help them, but I wanted to help a lot more. And so that was the genesis of filming, doing 8 months of filming and editing content, and having to get smarter people like you two to be able to put that somewhere, so that it could actually impact people. I'm absolutely not joking. For anyone who's listening to this, the program that I would have created, it still would have been good content wise, but it would have been like a series of YouTube links, not good and not justifiable for just about any fee we charge. But the workbooks, the platform, everything that Adam and Katelyn have created is something that I'm extremely proud of and something that we know helps people. We know that from the feedback we're getting, not just because of how much effort we put in. Mm-hmm. So that's the why. Right? Oh, thank you guys. We would not, this program would not be what it is. It wouldn't even be a success without you too. So it's really the why was to reach more people, and the opportunity was the crisis. And I want people to really take that away is that, when crisis happens, we all say, oh my God, what now? Why me? What? But that's when entrepreneurs have to be at their best, really looking, ask yourself a better question, not why me, not what now. Ask, where's the opportunity here? There's a secret advantage. I'm going to find something that no one else is. Crisis gives that way more than a good economy does.
Yeah, that's true. So essentially, for those of you who are listening, Stan took his brilliant program and plan and put it on an online platform to be able to give it to way more people at a price that people can afford during a crisis when it is a downturn. And so the success of the system really, it was cool. It was cool because we got to go on this journey with you, right? And like, Adam and I are doing some of the exercises in the background and like learning from you as we go. And it was so much fun to like test it out and to experience it. And I can speak truly that it was just an amazing journey. Taking that knowledge, those exercises, and throwing it against our business, throwing it against, what we want to do too. And so, it's just an awesome opportunity. And so you're giving people access to this online platform at, like you said, a fraction of the cost, because we're in a crappy economy right now and the crisis. But then you took it even a step further, and you're giving a portion of that to Operation Underground Railroad.
That's
so
right.
First, what is the cost, Stan? You're giving your book away for free.
The book we give away for free. And just so that people know what the program actually consists of, we help people go through their purpose. What is the future vision they're trying to create? What's holding them back? What's their glass ceiling? What are their core values? What's their scoreboard for success? A bigger house, a faster car is not it for most people. They may say that, but that doesn't bring true lasting happiness. So we help people identify what's going to make them happy in the long run, all told with all those things, and an actionable workbook complete with goals they commit to and dates for their attainment, because we all know action is how we move the needle, not wishing for it. Basically, we crammed way more than $7,000 of value into a program that we're charging $199. So we took $199.
Only $199.
That's it. We took the price way down. And by the way, $199 is less than it costs to have a half-hour coaching session with me. And included in this program, you get a half hour with a coach. And if you want more, you get to have that coaching for more than 50% off, or one of our signature programs for 80% off. And you can only access that through the Success is a System platform. Wow. We wanted to help people. If we want to be around when a company is, crushing it and hiring coaching for all their executives, we need to be around and helpful in their moment of need. That's why we brought the price down. And of course, as an entrepreneur, we looked at every cost center we possibly could and tried to make sure we leveraged it down, working with great people like yourselves, and so where the program is not ultimately a huge profit as far as margin, but if we help enough people, and Zig Ziglar said it best, right? If you help enough people get what they need, then all your goals will be achieved as well. Right. And my goal, like we barely notice it as far as a revenue when we make one sale, but if we can make 1,000 or 100,000 sales, then we're getting closer to our ultimate vision of helping 1 million people. I hope I have to add another zero to that. And we make the world a better place. We do our part to make the world a better place by helping unlock the potential of so many people that know they're meant for more, but are just going through life day by day, stuck in a rut, waiting for the weekend. That's not okay.
Right. And, those people can then, if they're ignited and empowered, they can change the world in their way or whatever they're 100%. Passionate about. And
that's exactly.
You give back to the community quite a bit, Stan. In this program in particular, you're giving back to the Underground Railroad. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'd love to. Operation Underground Railroad, we talked about this earlier this week, is that in a perfect world, it wouldn't exist. What they do is they rescue and free children from sex trafficking operations. Horrible, right? It's actually unthinkable. And ignorance is bliss, I'll be honest. And it's something that's not easy to talk about. It's something that is ugly to talk about, to be honest. But, look at where we are. You guys are in a beautiful office. I got a great Christmas tree with a family I love in a city that's safe. And I have the freedom every day to chase my dreams. And I get to work with people who are chasing their dreams. That's a freedom. Think about how often we, pay homage to our, military veterans for the freedoms that we enjoy because of them. What we forget about is there's a whole lot of people in the world who don't have the freedom we do to pursue their dreams or even just be kids. You know, these numbers are staggering and mind-blowing, but there are over 10 million children in the world right now who are in slavery. And there's three kinds of slavery, and crediting Hayden Paul, the donor relations manager from Operation Underground Railroad with these statistics. But three kinds of slavery basically is, one is labor slavery, that's still around. Another is organ harvesting. You kidnap kids, and when it's time, you kill them and take their organs. And the third is sexual slavery. So you perform sex acts. So the average age is 12 to 14, which by itself sounds awful enough. But it happens way younger. Let's face it, I mean, these are criminals that are kidnapping children for the sex trade. There's no ethics around what age that is. And it's $150 billion a year industry. $150 billion a year. That math, the way it was explained to us, was that's enough money to buy Starbucks as a company and all 32 NFL teams and have money left over. And that's in 1 year. It's so disheartening. And, you know, I sat on that call with you, and I'm the one wiping the tears from my face in the one of the ones.
One of the ones. Yeah. But what really bothered me is, you know, we're not in my backyard kind of people, but it is in our backyard.
Of course it is, which is shocking because you think, well, we live somewhere nice. Yeah, we do. But, you know, the evil, you know, evil doesn't have an address.
It doesn't.
No. And, you know, those unthinkable acts sometimes happen in what you assume are healthy, happy homes. I mean, it happens anywhere from people in law enforcement to, you know, religious leaders to business people, whatever. Like, evil is evil, and it can happen anywhere. Of course, you know, people in positions of trust, if they manipulate that, feels more evil to me. But this is not a hierarchy. This is just you know, we talked about it. One kid in those circumstances is too many. It's not okay. And so the reason it was so important for us to partner with Operation Underground Railroad is that because we have the freedom to pursue our goals and our dreams, that is a luxury, let's say. And because of that, we wanted to work with the population who is off to a better life and take those proceeds and support those people who are just trying to live a life free of torture, free of slavery, free of unthinkable evil acts that, I mean, I'm a wreck if I even think about it. And the only reason I'm composed now is I'm focused on you two. I'm focused on not thinking about that. But it is too important to not act. It's an evil so grave that once you even hear about it, you can't go back to life as normal. You can't. You have to do something about it. So for me and for our team, this is it. And we hope that through the success of our program and through the success of helping so many more people achieve their goals, like, we hope we have to write a very, very big check to Operation Underground Railroad. And we hope we can actually up the amount we give from every program. Of course, as entrepreneurs, we have to keep our cost centers what it is. But we really want to make sure that we help a lot of people. And every time someone goes through success as a system, it helps them. It helps the people in their lives because they might be a leader, or they might be a happier spouse or partner or whatever. And it helps a kid who did nothing to end up in hellish circumstances. And that's the part
how much is that of the proceeds are going?
Right now, a minimum of $25 from every purchase. And what we want to do, actually, we have an affiliate program. And so with the affiliate program, people can actually make money for themselves by getting people to go through this. Again, we want an army helping. So that's why we had to carve money outside for our affiliates. Of course, I want to pay my coaches. If anyone takes advantage of those half-hour calls, we have to throw some marketing at this thing. So the margins are lean, but you know, really this whole thing was engineered to be able to impact as many people as possible. And the goal is that we can hopefully get to the point where with traction and enough reach, where we can double what we do for Operation Underground Railroad.
Yes,
I think
love that.
I like you said, impactful, right? Like the way the program is designed, it can reach a lot of people. And, you know, now there's Christmas parties being canceled. There's, you know, conferences that aren't happening or they're happening virtually. So, you know, maybe as a company, there's an opportunity there to, you know, give the program to your employees as a gift or whatever. I feel like there's lots of ways to approach this, right?
It's such a great idea. And, you know, one of the things we talked about is internally is the fact that, you know, when you throw a Christmas party, you do it to thank and reward your staff. But ultimately, with every sort of employee recognition or employee development, every business owner, every board of directors hopes that it influences retention, that it can have happier, more engaged employees, and that through that, there's maybe some ROI that comes back to the company.
Yeah.
Well, this is a perfect program to do that. A lot of the team, what a lot of people in leadership positions fail to realize, their team wants coaching. Their team wants learning and development and more access. And when you open it up, instead of a $200 a plate dinner, when you factor in a hall rental and staff and all this stuff, $200 so that every single person on your team is more engaged, more focused, clearer on their purpose, their core values, where they're going, and what's getting in the way. We do everything so that we can prove ROI. We are proving that we're helping people become better leaders, develop stronger business acumen, more passion. And so that is a no-brainer in this year of all years, when that expense would just be an expense or it evaporates. Well, no, turn it into an investment. Fire your team up, get them performing at their best level ever, and do something for a charity that is just absolutely, you know, we have to take action. To me, that's a no-brainer.
Absolutely. So, okay, so I want to ask another, maybe, you know, little cheeky question here.
Love it.
Okay, are you ready for this? So
it's all fair game.
Okay, you said it. A fair game. Okay. Everybody and their brother is a business coach.
Yes.
I see it. I can see the stats on LinkedIn. I can look at it up, like millions of people. Okay, so like why Stan? Why you?
Because well, okay. Well, first of all, I want to ask, you know, why a coach, right? I mean, of course, there are a dozen. Why a coach in general? No, I'm not everyone's coach, but I will talk about why hire me. But first, I want people to realize that it is a buyer beware industry. You know, if you're on Instagram, you're going to see someone who looks to be 19 years old standing in front of a boat saying, follow my system and you can be successful too. And their parents are like, come on, Jake, we're going to be late. Not their boat, and the parents paid for the holiday. So, I mean, come on. I started my first business at 21, and there is no way I knew enough about business to be a business coach at that age. And I would say that I'm pretty studious and I take what I do seriously. And as you said, I'm pretty passionate. So people have to realize that just because someone says they're a coach doesn't mean that they actually are a coach. Coaching is not giving people advice. Coaching is creating a safe space for people so they can bring their whole self to that engagement, their goals, their challenges, their fears, their issues, what's getting in the way. And we can work through that so the coachee or the client can come to their own best conclusion. And then a good coach can support them with strategies and actions on how to realize their goals. So
is this certification? Is it like if you...
There is. Personally, I'm certified by the #1 executive coach in the world the last 2 years in a row. His name is John Mattone.
Wow.
John Mattone has probably the most complete framework for what coaching is. In fact, he was hired to give his framework. The way his coaching certification came about years ago is he was hired because he had such a great reputation. He used to coach Steve Jobs. He used to coach Roger Enrico at Pepsi, you name it. So he was hired to say, you're the guy for coaching. Can you come in and teach our executive team all that you do for coaching? and he developed a manual. Well, that manual was 600 pages. So he took that manual, and that's the backbone of what he now goes through with a coaching certification. That's who I wanted to be certified by. Like if I'm going to pay for a certification, I'm going right to the top. That's one of 4 certifications I have. So going back to why me and why choose a coach, I'm just going to say the coach you should choose should have lived experience that you're trying to get there. You know, success leaves clues. And so don't just hire a coach. Nobody needs a coach. The reason someone should work with a coach is because they can help someone get somewhere that they couldn't on their own. It's pretty much the only reason. So lived experience is probably one of the biggest filters. Part of that is if you want to hire a business coach, what business or businesses has that coach run? There are business coaches who have never owned their own business, and they're giving people advice. Now, we're all entrepreneurs. You know what the sleepless nights are like. You know how stressful it is trying to make payroll sometimes.
Yeah.
You know the cash flow roller coaster. You know the self-doubt that goes and the beat yourself up when things don't go well. You know the psychology of an entrepreneur because of lived experience. Can you imagine if you hadn't done any of those things, coaching someone as they go through it?
Oh, Stan, you know what I can imagine? Because do you know how many men were giving me advice when I was pregnant on how to be pregnant?
The mansplaining. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
That's it. I get it.
Wow. That's just idiotic. Wow. I'm married and I don't give people relationship advice. I would never anyway.
That's so funny.
But that's the whole point, is that people are giving advice when it's more about, look how smart I am, not I empathize. I've been through your situation. Here's what I'd recommend. Personally, I've owned or co-owned 7 businesses. And so I doesn't mean I know it all, but I've bought into a business. I've started 3 from scratch. I've partnered into businesses. I've gone through a merge. I've sold a business. I've folded a business, which we talked about. So I've seen lots of the different cycles of business over the last 23 years. And that's where I coach from. In addition to being certified by the world's #1 executive coach and having certifications in team effectiveness and corporate facilitation. Doesn't mean I have it all. If someone wants a coach when it comes to conflict resolution, I have experience, but one of our coaches, Renata, has a certification in that. So that's a perfect example that even in the same company, she's a better coach than I would be for that particular outcome or that particular goal. So you really want to vet your coach on your specific goals. And then I would also really put the effectiveness filter on. So if you're thinking about hiring a coach, ask them, who have you helped with goals like mine? Who have you helped through challenges like mine? And then here's the kicker question. Ask them who their coach is.
Who's your coach?
A coach. I've been fortunate enough to have been coached by John Mattone. I'm also the man himself, he is amazing, by the way. I've also spent a fair amount of time with Marshall Goldsmith, who was the #1 executive coach in the world 3 years in a row before John Mattone was. I also am in a mastermind group full of coaches, New Zealand's #1 executive coach and 2 of the top coaches in the United States. There's a few of us on this mastermind group. I get coached by them. So I actually have a lot of coaches. I had a whole bunch more coaches when I was starting who helped me with advice and structure and the war stories. So I get coached all the time. And someone who is coaching because you need a coach, if they don't use a coach themselves, they're not really buying their own medicine. And that should be cause for someone to be wary. If your coach doesn't have a coach, they're talking out of the left side of their mouth.
I like that. I like it. It's a good filter because we're inundated. How do I know? How do I know what it's a good coach? And then obviously there's the personality. Like, Stan, I might just not like you.
It wouldn't be the first.
I do like you. Don't. Yeah. But you've got to have that personality match 100%. Too, right?
Exactly right. We're in the age of Google, right? Information on anything is a Google search away. And so there's a reason why people don't just rely on the internet for their biggest problems. It's because that's not how humans learn. Think of the best speakers you've ever heard. You know, I've heard Tony Robbins, I've heard, you know, Norman Schwarzkopf, I've heard, I was there with Barack Obama in person. I've heard so many of these people, these amazing speakers, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you name it. And the best speakers in the world don't just give out facts. They tell stories that are powerful. And because relatability is such a human condition, right? We are social creatures, which is why the shutdown sucks, right? We learn through relatable experiences. And that's where coaching is so important, because you want to relate to someone. Maybe it's shared worldview, shared values, and someone who you can kind of have this cathartic experience. Like you feel like you're experiencing their stories. And that's how you can tack on that learning, because we all know there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. And great coaches take knowledge, and their coaching clients now walk away with wisdom. And that's what helps them make better and different decisions.
Yeah. Oh, and if they go with you, they walk away with results too. So it's like win-win.
Bingo. That's right. Or, you know, with that too, I should say, you know, I have fired 2 clients, but I also am absolutely open to firing myself. And that's the conversation where if we don't see a line where based on these goals and based on these measurables and based on how we think you're going to get there, if we don't have a pathway, then we will refuse to take anyone's money. So happy to fire myself. Or
connect them to one of your other coaches that is the expert. Like that's the cool thing.
Or even a coach that doesn't work for us. I definitely believe in abundance mentality. Every year in Canada, 95,000 businesses start. And so that's pre-COVID, and where a lot more people are now going to turn to entrepreneurship. So with 95,000 businesses every year that start, there's enough to go around.
Yeah, that's what I like about you, Stan. You're so real, and you're so connected to your purpose, and you know exactly how you want to change the world. Right? You've got Operation Underground Railroad. You've got a program that reaches out to people that couldn't normally afford coaching. You've got coaching programs for executives who can. And the 3 of us actually teamed up for what we call the Fuel for Success program, which I think is worth a mention here. Do you want to tell us about it, Katelyn?
Oh, me. Stan should tell us about it.
Let's both. I mean, it's that time of year, and it's not just around Christmas, but you know, this is a time when obviously people really think about that and the needs of others. So it's a way that we can, you know, it's a way that we can feed a lot of people, because a lot of people go hungry this time of year. And we can feed those people for just $39 a month. Our friend Stephen Clark, who's a brilliant social capitalist, entrepreneur, just all around kick-ass dude, was able to find ways of, just like we did with our program, eliminating every cost center possible. So for just $39 a month, after your first month, you get access to an app where not only you're doing the right thing, it's not just straight charity. $39 a month, let's face it, we can all find a way to afford that. But after your first month, you get access to an app with so many discounts. And that's the brilliance of the program, is you're going to get more than that back. With those with the crazy discounts and the companies that are getting involved in the offers, your $39 a month is now an investment. It's not even charity. So
you're feeding a person a day, right?
A meal a day.
A meal a day.
For $39. I can't eat for that.
No way. But think back to college and eating, you know, KD days, you can't eat for that price.
Yeah, itchy band.
So,
right.
And that was the cool part too, is it's not KD. Like you're not getting the cans of tuna fish. He had
healthy,
organic, non-GMO packaged food that has a 2-year shelf life, so it can get to the people.
That's right.
And it's healthy and it's good, it's nutritional, and he went through all that. In fact, he actually fed it to his millennial test experts, and they loved it. They're like, no way, this is $1.39, right? It's like, what better way to get by-in? But funny enough, you talked about the discount app. So I obviously signed up to my own program, because practice what you preach, right? But I got the discount app. I had to buy new spectacles. I saved $250, which pays to feed people for 6 months. Winning.
Huge. There you go. Perfect example.
Yeah.
You know, I love this, how this, you know, coming together with great people, bringing this idea of humanity back in the business, right? It's like you said right at the beginning there, Stan, right? It's profits through purpose, right? And I think that's just, you know, just such a beautiful way to view the world and to approach the idea of entrepreneurship and business, and just give, right? So
We all have something to give, right?
Right.
Time, talent, you're just even an ear or a dollar, whatever it is. So a lot of times people say things like it's just business, but as one of my colleagues, Dietrich, who's a great coach himself, says, business is very personal. People bring their creativity, their talents and all that to work, and they want to be appreciated. And so business must be personal. It can't just be about making a buck for someone at head office that we'll never meet. Business is so much more than that.
Yeah. We mentioned a ton of programs and things going on. So we're going to put all the information in the links, below here. And just really appreciate your message and your philosophy and your outlook, Stan. So I just want to thank you so much for being on the show.
I appreciate you two for having me, and appreciate everyone that's listening. So one of the links will be to our program, Success as a System. And as you go to the link, you'll actually download Success as a System, the bestseller that was really what kicked all this off. So free book for everybody. That's one of the value adds. And when we go on to the Fuel for Success program, which is the basically feeding everyone for $39 a month, this is stuff that everybody can do and you feel great about afterwards. You're not going to notice $39 a month. Absolutely not. But the people who need it are going to notice. Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that, Stan. Thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate it. We're going to put Stan's contact information below so you guys can click on it and get a hold of this guy. And you get a free bestseller. And then you get the actual course. So you turn your learning into action, because that is the power. That's the results. And I love it. Stan, you're just a beautiful person and we appreciate you so much.
Love you both. Thank you guys so much. And let's feed a whole lot of people. Let's help a lot of kids. Let's do this, everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks, Stan.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember, if you know somebody that might want to be on Enta Ask, just click the link below.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.